93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. And oh my goodness, Casey, we talked about this last week. There is an incredible feel-good story in Indiana politics.
To our surprise.
Yes. And we have a segment on this show where by threat of force, management has forced me to find good things in the world to talk about.
Yeah.
And we're giving people a double dose of that today because we'll have that segment coming up later.
Yeah, it's a twin spin.
But one of the real feel-good stories going on in Indiana politics and government right now is that Jamie Reitenour, who is running for governor on the Republican side, got the signatures necessary to run for governor.
Yes.
Not only did she get the 4,500 signatures, she totally blew it out of the water, went way past it. And did it, as we said, with a budget of about 8 cents.
Yeah.
And we had Jamie on the show several months ago, and she said, God told me to run. And we said, did God tell you how to get the signatures? And she said, I'll figure it out.
Grassroots, apparently.
We said, well, we're going to be excited to see that because that is a terribly expensive operation. And she did it. Yep. And she joins us now. Jamie, hello.
Hello. Rob and Casey, thanks for having me this morning.
So you were with us several months ago.
Yes.
And we were like, who is this person? Actually, Micah had first said, you've got to meet Jamie Reitenour. She's fabulous. You came to Life Church. You preached there. Then we had you on the show. And we said, okay, God told you to run. That's wonderful. Did he tell you how to get the signatures? You said you were going to get them. How did you get the signatures? Because you only raised like $17,000, and yet you got something. It was some amazing number, like 6,000 signatures. This is just such a great story. How did you do this?
So the people of Indiana are amazing. We said we were going to do it. We're not politicians. We got it done. The reason why it's easy is because Indiana does not want politics anymore. The people of Indiana are looking for someone they can trust. They're having these conversations in their dining rooms, in their kitchens. They're saying every single decision politicians are making at this point in time in our lives, we are feeling in the moment. And so when you come to them and you say, I have no motive but just to serve you, it inspires people. And when people are inspired, they will work and make sacrifice. My team is completely volunteer staff. We have one person that is actually paid. And I am telling you, I saw grandmothers and grandfathers, moms and dads out in the cold. We had the little heat warmers in our gloves. Like we weren't playing around. And it was an amazing experience. And so I do want to take this opportunity to just say to the Indiana Goodness team, thank you. And we are so excited for all of you that are going to join. You will love working together in the state of Indiana to get rid of the politics and do what is right by the people.
You are the only non-professional politician. I mean, okay, Doden kind of isn't. But
she's giving us
Jamie's waving her hands back and forth.
Come see, come see.
I mean, but let's face it, you don't rise to being the head of the IEDC, whether it's under Pence or Holcomb or whoever, without being uber connected, and you basically are a politician, whether you want to call yourself that or not. That position is every bit as powerful as being a state senator. I mean, let's face it, you are the most non-political person of the people running. You're the only kind of non-political person. How about I phrase it like that? You're the only non-political person running.
Okay, yeah, and I think what's good for people to do, right, is listen to what people are saying and what people are doing. All it takes is look at the articles that are being written, look at the questions that are being asked. They are telling you, yeah, I support the IEDC. Yes, I think your taxpayer dollars should go to the IEDC where they can go and purchase land. Like, we're conservatives. Where did that concept go?
Right.
We don't believe that the government should be using our taxes to do whatever they want with our money. And so I think that when you ask yourself a question, is this person a politician or not, you need to not just listen to what they say, look at what they do. That is what we're doing right now. We're in a interview process for governor in the state of Indiana. And I encourage you to listen to what people are saying, but also watch what they do.
All right, Jamie, you mentioned the interview process. And eventually, in any interview, somebody says, what skill set do you bring to the job? So we know if we're looking on a spectrum, someone like Mike Braun, who has been a senator and now is going to run for governor, he has the experience of politics. You, on the other hand, saying, hey, I don't have the experience of politics, and that's a good thing. But you have to bring something to the table. So what is it?
I love the question. So I am a person that I've worked in corporate America. I'm a servant leader.
What did you do?
Yeah, so I was a mortgage compliance manager. I worked for a mortgage broker in California. It was the second largest mortgage broker We had 1,500 loan officers. So it was my job to protect the broker's license. So I really like that. It's a great bridge for the people of the state of Indiana because it's my job to protect their interest. I don't think that we should have people that are in office that are guiding and leading us that are of the mindset that we want our government to operate like a business. That is not what we want. We want the government to be there to serve the people, to have the best interests of the people in mind, and we want it to be as small as possible, right? That is why we encourage everyone to focus on freedom, because our freedoms are something that are infringed upon the larger our government gets. And so if you want to look at my resume, you are welcome to. I have been a leader all my life. I know how to lead. I know how to cast vision. And importantly, I know that you don't come to the table and say, I'm the person that has all the solutions. You come to the table and you say, I will get a person for every single area of the state that will bring you the solutions that you're asking for. My staff is heavily equipped. My Lieutenant Governor of choice, Craig Blow, he served in the Army, he flew Blackhawks, he helped set up foreign governments. My head of education, Paige Miller, Mom for Liberty, 30 years experience, master in administration. We're already working on business. We're already working on Veterans Affairs. We're already working on health freedom. We are not playing around. We are here to serve you as leaders. We're going to come as the dream team for the state of Indiana, and you are going to get your government back.
I like this lady. Yeah. Jamie Reitenour is our guest. I want to come back to this because obviously we want to know like your plans and what you want to do for state of Indiana. But what you did was so important because Casey, I've talked about this a million times about how rigged our electoral system is. And the Republicans have totally done this. And it's ironic John Rust is having his hearing in front of the Supreme Court today to try to break part of this, I don't know, is it monopoly or mafia or whatever word we want to use up?
Stronghold.
Yeah, I mean, on the you have to vote in so many primaries. But the other side of it is these signatures. And we have talked for such a long time about how it's rigged that unless you're a professional politician, congressman, senator, whatever, or a super rich person.
And have the bank account to bankroll it.
But you did this, and so tell us about your team that did this, because everybody else, if indeed like down the road the signature law is allowed to stand and people got to keep doing this, they need to know what the secret is so that regular people like you can run for public office. Like I almost want to vote for you, even though I didn't know anything about you. Just how you pulled off getting these signatures with one paid person working for you.
Well, it's a good resume builder, right?
I mean, it's incredible.
We're talking about the difference in being conservative and
yes.
conservative. So there you go. I proved to you that I could do that. Yeah, so it takes a lot of organizing. Our team is very gifted, right? So the Bible talks about we boast in the Lord. I have the gift of administration and leadership. It just means that what we do very well. And we're not overburdened by the details. So I think the key in any kind of leadership style is making sure that the people that you're leading enjoy what they're doing. And so what we do with our team is we look for people that are specifically gifted in gathering people and handling a whole lot of basically multitasking. And those people we put at the forefront. And then the people that are more about serving, which in other words, if you were to put them in a situation where there's a whole lot of detail, they would get overwhelmed. But they're the people that do want to be involved and will knock on doors and will talk to people. We let them be led by the front crew. And the front crew is really, like I said, it's those gatherers, those administrative people. And so we just took time to really ask people what they wanted to do to get to know people. And when you get to know people and you get to know their talents and their giftings and their experiences, you can organize them in such a manner that they go and run quickly. And that's what they did.
What have you learned through this process?
I've learned a lot about government and
how awful it is.
I mean, well, we all knew.
What you
right?
like different about it?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew what it was like, but when you get into the nitty gritty and you're sitting there looking at signature forms and you're looking at congressional districts and you're looking at the many signatures that you have to give from people that are already registered, the fact that you might have to do your own audits on that. I mean, there's so much that you have to do.
They really hate regular people, don't they? The
Republicans
hate
and then you have this
people.
question. Here's an interesting question. And then you have this question, where do the signatures go?
Right.
Right? Like, does the Republican Party get all those signatures, right? Did we just work our tails off? And the Republican Party's going to take all our and now they're going to send mailers out. Like, what is going on? So it's the red tape. We've learned about the red tape. You have to function in it before you can change it. And
all right. Why don't we take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna ask you enough fluff here. We've been way too nice to you for a whole segment.
We actually, our listeners actually want to know where you stand on some of the issues.
But look, I just thought it was such a big deal that she got these signatures, and we talk about this all the time.
Fantastic.
But how rigged this thing is, and so I thought we almost had to give her a whole segment.
Got to highlight it. It can be done
because because I guarantee
Apparently.
Can be done.
they are so mad, Jamie, that you pulled this off. I guarantee there are people at the Republican Party headquarters who are just beside themselves. So why don't we take a break and then we'll ask her some policy questions.
Sounds good. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here, continuing now our conversation with Jamie Reitenour. She is a Republican running for governor in the state of Indiana. All right, we were way too nice to you last segment. We got to ask you some hard questions now. Two-part question to start this segment, and I want you to complete this sentence. The Republican Party has done a blank job running the state of Indiana the past 7 years.
The Republican Party has done an inadequate job.
Oh.
Inadequate.
Inadequate job of
Okay.
running the state of Indiana these past few years.
Second part of the question, why?
Well, we're conservatives. Our government is full of many different committees. Our codes are full of constant delegation of power. And the issues that mean the most to us take forever for the legislation to actually get either in a committee and voted on or passed. COVID was an eye-opening experience. All of a sudden in COVID, we realized all of these people that we thought that we voted for that are kind of enough distance away that they're not going to affect our families. So in other words, were any of us ever really satisfied with what we were getting in the Republican Party? No, the answer is no. If we're all honest, the answer is no. We were putting politicians in office and we were simply saying, okay, at least they said they're conservative. But then we would get results and just go, this is crazy. Like they're not doing anything that we asked them to do, but it didn't feel like it was hitting the dinner table. Now, through COVID, we found out that it doesn't just hit the dinner table, it affects your life. Like these are life decisions. And when you are part of a conservative party and you can't define what that party thinks about freedom, there's a problem. When you can't define what that party thinks about the way they spend money, when you start getting information about LEAP and the IEDC and you're going, wait, you guys are purchasing land? Wait, let me get this straight. You're purchasing land and then you're giving opportunity to certain companies to buy that land or be on that land. Wait, is this a winners and losers situation? I thought we were conservative. And so here's the thing. It's not just a matter of what they've done. And please listen when I tell you this. It's also a matter of how they were able to do it. In government, you have to have legislation. You have to have the backing to be able to do these things that you're doing. And so there has been a lot more thought into what they're doing. And that is where they have failed us.
You talked about the process, and I think that's an interesting answer because Casey and I talk all the time about the property taxes.
Yes.
And we had a chance to talk about today that Nikki Kelly, and we'll get into this with her tomorrow, has this piece out in the Indiana Capitol Chronicle that these legislators are getting these citizen surveys back. And overwhelmingly,
It's the number one thing.
yeah, people are saying fix the property taxes. We've been talking about this for 2 years. We had people flooding our inbox with the fix, begging these people to fix property taxes. We had them flood their inboxes to fix property taxes.
Yes.
And here we are 2 years later, and they still have no plan for any of this. And people are literally having to make very hard choices to stay in their homes now because of this property tax stuff. That's such a great answer that you gave.
Yeah, so here's how I work. If it's not working, I'm not going to be knocking on that door. People ask me all the time, like, do you know people at the State House? I know their names. I'm not concerned about building a relationship with them. My job is to build a relationship with the people of the state of Indiana. They are who we work for, and they have forgotten that. So what I do is I operate under the Constitution, for instance, because education is our primary platform. Education is under the governor through the Constitution. When we talk about something like property tax, I don't say, am I going to go bang my head against a wall and have these conversations with the legislature? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to travel the state of Indiana. I'm going to go to 92 counties. I'm going to invite them to a meeting. I'm going to put their names on the table. You come or you don't come. And we are going to talk about having a statewide solution for the property taxes in our state. If you are just trying to deal with it from the top down and you don't acknowledge that there is a county level conversation that needs to take place, you're not doing anything. You've got to have the counties get involved and be held accountable for the conversation as well.
Yeah, Jamie Reitenour is our guest. She's running for governor on the Republican side. That's such an interesting answer because we always hear from the politicians and their response is, well, but what about the schools? What about the towns? What about the cities? The whole premise of the property tax caps 15 years ago was schools, and towns and cities and fire territories, all of them were totally out of control. And we've got to come in and fix this because you guys are so irresponsible. And it's like that never happens. Like now they're just like, but what about the schools?
Yes. Well, that's the point. The point is that we've made the conversation such a general conversation. You really can throw anything in there that you want, and you're not held accountable to it. That's not how I work. Look, it's taking a chapter out of President Trump's book. Whether you're on this side of President Trump or that side of President Trump, he did something that was excellent. He went around, he gave the vision as to what he was going to do, and he made it very clear for the people to understand. So when he got into office, and the news was constantly criticizing him, Kellyanne Conway would go, she would be on a segment, and she would say, yeah, but we ran on this. And so the reason why I tell the state of Indiana what my plans are is so that when we are doing those things, you know, I voted for that and she's doing it. I am telling you the plan for property taxes. I am not just going to shoot for this from a state, a high state level where you're talking about all your legislator and all those conversations. No, I am going to the ground. I'm going to the counties. I'm going to have their names on the table. We're going to give them an official invitation. And just so you know, this isn't going to happen whenever I get into office. Let me tell you the difference between myself. Listen carefully. The difference between myself and other governor candidates. I am called. I'm called. I was told to come to raise up with all of my teammates and to serve you as governor of the state of Indiana. So I don't operate in a mindset of trying to get elected. I am walking by faith, which means in my mind, I'm already elected. I am working for you. These county conversations I am talking to you about, I'm not going to have those on the other side of government. I'm going to have those now. My team is already working on building relationships with county. And let me do like a shameless plug. If you are a county commissioner and you are involved in a county, we want you to contact our campaign. We want you to lead these conversations because we have to be a state that is about borders, no boundaries. The state of Indiana has to work together. We are a beautiful state. We are not a one-size-fits-all, but this we can all do together. We can believe in Indiana goodness.
Jamie, okay, you just mentioned that we're a beautiful state, but inside America's deserted steel town, Scary Gary, Indiana, 10,000 buildings sit abandoned. About half the population has fled. How do you include areas of Indiana like that?
Look, they're putting me on the spot, right? Let me tell you something that they tell you in politics. In politics, they tell you, whatever you do, don't give them the details. Right? So I'm about to just totally...
Yes, everyone says,
I'm
let
gonna
me
go
be
right
clear.
through that.
And Rob and I say, okay, great, be clear. How about you be specific?
Well,
Yes.
and before you answer that, I think this is great, Casey, and you can back me up on this. We've had 2 candidates for governor the previous 2 days. Neither one of them gave us any sort of specifics on what they planned to do. We asked them some of these same questions, and we have someone that wants to give us answers.
Right.
Yes.
We don't know what to do. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, you are on
Deep
WIBC.
breath.
Yeah,
Take a deep breath. It's okay.
It's so great. You're on WIBC. This is Jamie Reitenour, and this is breaking news. You're going to hear this first from me here. We've got plans for Gary, Indiana. I was actually Sunday just up in that area, and I'm so excited to tell you. Look, we're looking at the airport in Gary, Indiana. We want to make a statewide effort to change that city. Right now, I'm entertaining thoughts about, first of all, pilots are very needed all over the world. As you know, I run on education. We run on apprenticeships for seniors. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to become, in the state of Indiana, the training capital of the United States.
Now, are you looking at doing that with the help of foreign investors? Because that's been the plan in the past.
No, we don't look for foreign investors. We look for Indiana businessmen and women to come forward and help invest in our apprenticeship program. We look for small businesses in the state of Indiana to get involved. It's a great opportunity to stir up our economy because small businesses need employees. I mean, the workforce in Indiana is wanting, not just from a standpoint of, we need more people to work, but also from the standpoint of people don't even want to work. So this is an opportunity for the people of Indiana to build their own workforce. We're going to lay out this apprenticeship program so that small businesses can apply for the program. They can be put through a vetting process, and then they'll be approved. And then they can have seniors work for them, and they're literally training them for that moment when they graduate so that they have employees that already know what's going on. And look, even if they don't work for those people in the future, at least they've gotten the experience. At least they've had a training with people that care about their business and the state of Indiana. When it comes to Gary, Indiana, we approach it slightly differently because in Gary, Indiana, they have the airport that's nearby. We want to look at that airport as a training ground.
Casey, we may have found the female Rob Kendall.
You think so?
I mean, and that in this audience that'll play well. Outside of here, you might not want to say that.
Exactly.
I just love the directness of the answers. And even if I disagree with you on something, which I don't think you've said anything yet that I would, that's horrible. But I just love the directness of the answer. So hey, before we let you go, we'll have you back. We're gonna have all these candidates back as we get closer to the election. You talked about being called by God to run, and when you said that on this show several months ago, there were a lot of people who kind of snickered and said, yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm going to tell you, God was all over you getting those signatures, because Jim Merritt and I talked about this, Abdul and I talked about this. There has never been a person with the lack of financial resources or political connections ever in the history of this state that has done what you did. And so people could laugh and snicker when you said that. God helped you get those signatures, because that is absolutely amazing, and no one should sleep on you in this governor's race, because you're here. You're able to run.
I'm here, and I'm not going away. When you look at how you walk by faith through Scripture, it's very simple. There will always be scoffers. There will always be people that doubt. The Scriptures are full of that. But the whole point is that we walk by faith. The whole point is that we're pointing to the Lord. If I can do it, then it's not something that requires faith. Faith requires risk. What are we doing as Christians if we're not out there requiring risk in our lives? That's not faith. If you have faith, you're a person that's looking for the confirmations. You're looking for the Lord to tell you what to do, and you're not afraid to walk out there and say, I will risk it all. That is what I'm doing for the state of Indiana. You should be excited, because there is a person that is out there working for you. We believe in Indiana goodness. We believe in the people of Indiana. Go to our website, jamie4ingov.com.
Spell it again, because there's like
Sure.
there's 90 different versions.
That's so
of
true.
Jamie.
That's so true. Jamie, JAMIE, 4ingov.com. But today at 2 o'clock on Facebook, we're going to be making an announcement for all of you guys that want to get involved. You want to go to our Facebook page, Jamie Reitenour for Governor, and you want to get that announcement that's going to happen today at 2 o'clock. Look, we are excited to bring you Indiana goodness. You're going to enjoy it. Stay tuned.
Jamie Reitenour, Jamie, JAMIE, 4ingov.com is the website. Thank you, and keep us posted.
I will.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.